comics are stupid.
No Harry Potter movie is good.
And you're like, give me the Snyder Cut. Oh, sorry, just walk in front of you here. I'm gonna put my popcorn down. Oh, sorry, gotta put this here.
Universal needs to sue Sony.
Hey, I'm an idiot. I was fired from Fox. Let me go.
I'd like actually to see Venom just crush Spider-Man.
Hello everyone. The video you're about to watch is part 1 of 2 in which we talk about the news from San Diego Comic-Con. Now since then some news has been updated, including the director for Kang Dynasty and a few other small things. So just wanted to just tell everyone this was recorded this 2 days after San Diego Comic-Con, so some news is out of date at this point, but most of it's good, and part 2 will come out next week. Hope you enjoy. Hello everyone, we're back today, and we've got a special guest to join us to talk about San Diego Comic-Con and all the stuff that's happened. We have, do you want to introduce yourself, sorry? I'll let you introduce yourself.
Sure. Name's Alexander Sowa. I work as a features writer for Comic Book Resources, or CBR. Although, I do tons of stuff. That's one of the many things I do.
You are an excellent writer, and you're.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I do my best to keep my nose to the grindstone. So. And I'm a huge comic book fan. So there's a lot of really interesting stuff I think that came out of at least Marvel's panel this year, and maybe a little bit from DC, a little bit.
DC didn't really do anything new. They just kind of rehashed some old stuff. Gave a Shazam trailer,
but they gave us some updates. I don't blame them. The DCEU is kind of a mess, so.
Yeah, I mean, is it like we don't even know if it's a real universe?
I don't know if there is a DCEU. Yeah, it's like I'm assuming Shazam and Black Adam are the same universe, because that would be weird otherwise.
I mean, apparently Amanda Waller's in the Black Adam footage that wasn't shown to the public, so.
Okay, right. Yeah, no. Did you want to do more of an intro, or are we just jumping into it?
I mean, let's just jump into it. Why not?
Let's just jump into it. Okay, so my understand. If there's anything specific you want to bring up, feel free. But my understanding was, so DC showed off a bit more from Shazam and Black Adam, and then Marvel went a lot more in depth to sort of giving this big overarching idea of what we're going to see in phases 5 and 6.
Marvel needed to win. That was the moral of the story. Marvel just needed to beat DC.
That's not a contest, so yeah. But yeah, no. It's let's be clear. It is a contest, but it's sort of there's no contest, is what I'm saying.
Well, for the fans, it shouldn't be a contest because we're winning. But for them, I do think there is a level of competition of, like, obviously because they are competing and they do want to, be the ones that are remembered. So I do think for the companies, it's a competition.
Yeah, no. Obviously, no. What I just mean is that it's so uneven a competition. Like, when was the last time you looked at the DCEU and was like, oh yeah, they're really stepping up the no. Yeah, no.
Batman.
I love the Batman. I thought the Batman was great, but that does one good movie does not a cinematic universe make.
Yeah, and I don't think they need a cinematic universe.
I liked the Suicide Squad too. I thought it was great.
I like both Suicide Squads, to be honest. Like, if we're being honest.
You like the original? That's interesting.
Well, like, I like it until you get to like that third act final fight scene. Then I turn it off. So I'll watch it up until that point.
That's rough. Yeah, that's rough. I don't know. The pacing of that movie is all over the place. But anyways, back to. So Marvel sort of showed off a lot from Phase 5 and 6, and I have like a million other tabs open. Credit to Polygon for doing some really excellent reporting. They have like a whole timeline laid out that you can scroll through, which I find
I made a whole timeline this morning by year, organizing the content by year. So
no, that's great. There's a good image that they obviously Marvel themselves showed off at their panel that there's a lot of photos of. So we can see right off the bat that the next thing coming up is It is Black Panther 2, isn't it?
It
right?
is. Do you want to talk about include the animated stuff in this conversation? Because that was kind of earlier, but it's also MCU.
Which animated stuff?
Spider-Man, What If, Zombies.
Oh, right. Okay. I mean, What If I think is relevant because hasn't some of the stuff in What If come up in like the regular Marvel universe, like the
Captain Carter,
right? Yeah. So I definitely think what If absolutely is relevant. And then there's a new Spider-Man cartoon.
Yes,
right?
We're not sure about that one, whether it's canon or not.
I don't think that one will be canon.
I hope it isn't.
But the one thing I'm excited. Well, let's be clear. not everything has to be connected. As much as I'm a big fan of an interconnected cinematic universe, it's okay to just have smaller stuff. And the one thing I will say that I really got excited about, news I heard, I haven't looked into this myself, but Nico Minoru is going to be one of the
Yes.
characters in that show.
And
Have you seen Runaways?
yes, of course, I've seen Runaways. I was the
right,
original
no, 'cause,
Runaways
like-
fan, the show fan. So
All right, I'm glad because I was a huge Runaways fan back when that came out in the day, and just seeing those characters starting to pop up again, like the Charlie Cox showing up in No Way Home was for me like that. Like a lot of people got very excited because they were Daredevil fans or Jessica Jones fans. For me, I got excited because I'm a Runaways fan, where I'm like, oh, that's on the table.
when Olivia Holt
That
shows
can-
up
that
as
can happen.
Dagger, I'm going to lose my mind because it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when.
That Dagger and Cloak to me is even more of a long shot than Runaways because that was an even less popular show. But I'm all for it. I'm all
It
for
wasn't actually. I don't think comparatively to like. Okay, Black Bolt showed up again, and Inhumans is still by far the worst thing Marvel's ever done.
You know what? Yeah, you got me there.
I'm
You
gonna
got
say
me
that
there.
everyone else has a good shot of showing back up.
You're saying everything's on the
Everything.
table. If we get Black Bolt.
Yeah.
All right, no, but talk to me about the What If stuff because I haven't heard.
So
anything
have
about
you watched the season 1? I'm gonna assume you have.
that. Yes, I've watched all. I keep up to date on all my Marvel
Okay.
stuff. So something's out, I've seen it.
So, What If season 1, in my opinion at least, sucked. I didn't like it. I found it just
That's an oversimplification.
sucked for
To
Marvel.
me.
Sucked for Marvel.
Just to me, a lot of it was unnecessary to some extent. Like there were parts of it where I went, this isn't really a thing we need. But like I said before, not things can be their own things,
Yeah.
and the quality really varied from episode to episode. I did not like the Party Thor one, but then I'm a lot less of a comedic guy. I had issues with Love and Thunder because of that.
Ooh.
But like there were a lot of episodes I thought the Marvel Zombie episode did a very good job of sort of capturing that feel
Yeah.
from the comics. The Doctor Strange one was iffy, but I like time loop stuff, so I liked him going back and back. And the thing I loved was the Killmonger episode.
Yeah.
I thought the Killmonger episode, while I think it did not do as good a job of portraying that character as Black Panther, that's a high bar to match, and I just love seeing Michael B. Jordan and stuff.
So have you are you a Star Wars guy?
I'm like a middling Star Wars guy. I've seen all the Star Wars like mainline stuff, but I wouldn't call myself like a
Have you
huge
seen
fan.
the Clone Wars?
I've seen some episodes of the Clone Wars. Like I said, not all.
And you've
of
seen
them.
the prequels?
Yes, I've seen the prequels. I've seen the sequels. I've seen
Okay.
the original trilogy. I've seen Solo. I've seen
So you've seen all
Rogue
the live
One.
action stuff.
I've seen the Mandalorian. Yeah, I've seen all the live action stuff. I've seen the Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett.
So so what's interesting is in Star Wars they do the animated live action, like kind of connecting those two universes with Rebels and Clone Wars.
Right. Yeah.
And I think they do a better job at it than Marvel has done with their one show. So again, gonna give them a little bit of like slack here because
It's a small sample size.
but I do think that there is something to be said about when they like I don't know what it is, and maybe it's just our expectations or something, but I feel like even though the Clone Wars doesn't have the original cast as the voice actors, like the live action cast as the voice actors do a good job trying to replicate what the original cast does, and it works. If that makes sense. I don't even know if that makes sense, but like
Yeah, no, I get what you mean, and I think What If was very hit or miss with that because you had I don't remember who they got back and who they didn't, but I know like for example, they had someone doing a Tom Holland impersonation, and the Tom Holland impersonation was like pretty good, but I didn't think whoever they had doing Robert Downey Jr. for the Killmonger episode didn't do a very good Robert
but that's the
Downey
thing.
Jr. in
I
my
think
opinion.
they have to try to
But Robert Downey Jr. is an amazing actor.
yeah.
So
And I think like some of them, it's like when it's Robert Downey Jr., it's so hard. He's so like his voice is so iconic that it's hard to replicate. Like Chris Evans, you can replicate his voice if you're a good voice actor, and there's so many good voice actors, you know. But then and even Tom Holland, like you can replicate his voice, but Robert Downey Jr. is just
yeah, like I said, I thought they did a pretty good Tom Holland.
yeah, and I think that was some of the things that messed me up a little bit with some of those episodes. Was like, you know, you could tell it was sounded fake, and it was like I understand you don't want to like try too hard, but at the same time, like I don't know.
But moving on from one thing I'll say about season 1 is that I love Jeffrey Wright as the Watcher. I thought he did an
Yes.
excellent job. I liked how they really took the character of the Watcher and incorporated it a bit more into the series and made him like a character. But what did we see for season 2? Because like I said, I haven't seen.
So we heard about some episode names. I actually have them written down here, so I'll kind of read them through. And I want your
let me do my little bit.
I want your instant reaction.
My
to
reaction.
These, okay, as I read them to you.
Instant reaction. Okay, let's go.
Here we go. So season 2, a hella story.
Hella story.
All the information I got was a hella story.
Like the character, character from Thor Ragnarok. Okay, yeah, no, cool. I vibe with it. That sounds cool.
Odin versus the Mandarin.
That's interesting because the character of the Mandarin, as it exists in the MCU, is really weird because
he's not powerful.
He is. Originally, you have this character being played by Ben Kingsley, who is the Mandarin, who's a fake. So I'm assuming that's not what they mean. And then you have the character played by I don't remember the actor's name. Did an amazing job in Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
But one, you're right. He's not like a god or anything.
Well, not like in the comics. Or in the comics, if I told you in the comics is Odin versus the Mandarin, I think your reaction would be that would be an epic fight, right? Because in the comics, the Mandarin rings are very different in terms of the fact that they're actually like super powerful and make him super powerful. Now the question is the Mandarin me the same way, or will they give him cosmic rings?
Right, no, because here's the thing: if it is the same quote unquote Mandarin, one, the fact that they're using the term Mandarin is very interesting because that term comes up once in Shang-Chi, and then they go, "That's a stupid name. Call me something else."
Yeah.
And for the rest of the movie, they just use his actual. I want to find the character's actual name. 1 second. Because I want to include it. They use the character's actual name for the rest of the movie. They really don't call him the Mandarin.
Well, because they try to differentiate from the Ben Kingsley character, right?
Right.
Yeah.
The
actor Mandarin, right? Because they kind of make it seem
it's Tony Leung, and they call him they don't. It's so weird because they don't use his name very.
They don't really
often.
refer to
but
him.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's that guy. Like his name here is, I think, I don't want to butcher the pronunciation. It's Shu and Wu.
Yeah.
But like you don't hear him getting called that very often in the movie. It's usually just like your father or something.
Exactly. But I think Marvel's also been very clever just historically with not going too cheesy with the names for the most part, and like because comic names at the end of the day are cheesy when you say them, and like you try to give yourself.
Right, but there are names that are cheesy and there's names that are like offensive, and I'm glad Marvel seemed to be very aware with the Mandarin that this was a not historically sensitive portrayal of China, and they were like, okay, let's actually make a good film with good Chinese representation, and part of that is we're not going to use Mandarin much. So truly, there's a lot of question marks in my head when I hear Odin versus the Mandarin.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of my thing is like I know that would be awesome if they actually give us like true comic Mandarin with the powerful rings that are like elemental rings, whatever they are. Yeah, that would be awesome.
That'd be awesome. I will say that I do love the portrayal of the rings in the MCU as these very versatile, shape-shifting weapons. Where 1 second they're ranged, 1 second they're like kind of a bladed whip. Like they are. I can't wait to see those show up on the screen more. Now that at the end of the movie, like spoilers for Shang-Chi if you haven't seen it, that he gets the ring. So yeah.
And then Captain Carter meeting Winter Soldier.
Captain Carter. I'm looking forward to that. I thought the Captain Carter was kind of interesting that they have this more British version, I guess, and then if they get Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes, I'm all for that.
I do believe he's coming back for Bucky. I think he did for season 1.
Yeah, I remember him doing that in season 1, so I'd love to see that again. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you on this though, because I'm not excited for this because I didn't love the Captain Carter storyline in general. I felt like it was too much of like we're just literally changing Captain America and making it Peggy Carter, but we're not gonna really do much else with the thing.
No, it was probably the least divergence in a What If story. I will agree with you on that.
Because like Captain Carter, the idea of her is amazing, and even I think she was done so much better in Doctor Strange than in What If at all, because I think. It is just an animation bias thing where I'm just not like, as
I think she had a lot more stage presence in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I'll say that,
even though she was there for 5 minutes and then got killed. So
Yeah, even though she's there for 5 minutes, she had a lot more stage presence. Yeah.
The other one is Tony on Sakaar with Valkyrie and Hulk.
Tony on Sakaar with Valkyrie. Well, is okay.
Ragnarok, probably, right?
That was a scrapped idea from season 1. In season 1, they had Tony on Sakaar with Gamora.
Yeah.
Or maybe
Was it?
And then they showed up. Yeah, it's Tony on Sakaar with. Well, maybe not immediately with Gamora, but Gamora was a part of that episode.
Yeah.
And then they show up in the finale with their weird like crunching machine.
You're right. Yes, you are right.
So maybe they're just taking because that was a scrapped season. Maybe they have partially completed animation and they're using that.
Well, I'm sure it also has to do with like that's their idea for the Ragnarok kind of episode, right?
Yeah.
So those are all the ones that they released.
Those all sound kind of mid, if I'm being honest. Like, I'm not super excited for any of those. I'll watch it, but like as an example, I tend to watch a lot of the Marvel stuff with my parents. Like my mom in particular is very into Marvel stuff, and I didn't watch What If with them because like my mom was just couldn't really get into it.
My mom was the exact same way actually. It was the one she watched it all with me, but because I made her. But like she wasn't super into it as a concept. She also is not a huge animation person in general, so
Sure.
And I think that a lot of people were turned off by the idea that it was animation, and we're like, yeah, whatever. But
I think if we want animation from Marvel to take off more, it needs to be more different and less connected to the MCU.
Also, I do think
as much as
sorry.
So I am looking forward, as an example, to that new Spider-Man show coming up. Like I want to say it's
Freshman
Peter Parker
year.
in high school and like freshman year. Thank you. I am looking forward to that because that seems to be a better direction for animation where people aren't going to be always comparing it to the MCU.
Okay, so now I have a question for you. Kind of, if they changed the What If animation style, so it was more like typical 3D animation where the characters looked very much like Robert Downey Jr. and all these other characters, instead of this kind of more unique style of animation they've chosen to use for What If, which looks a little bit more messy and almost unfinished.
Yeah.
Would you think you would gravitate more to What If?
No, I think they need to be the opposite direction. I think we need more stylization. I'm always a proponent of more stylization. Like, for example, Spider-Verse.
Yes.
Everyone loves Spider-Verse, and part of that is because Spider-Verse is appropriately stylized.
Yeah.
It's not trying to look realistic. And I think if you try and look realistic, a lot of the time with animation, you lose a lot of the heart of it. And to me, more and better stylization is the way to go.
And I do think, to be fair to Marvel, What If is literally the most multiverse kind of not part of the MCU show you could possibly kind of create with animation.
That's the caveat. It's the most not connected to the MCU show you can make that is still technically part of the MCU.
But freshman
because
year
nothing in
MCU,
nothing in What If contradicts the MCU. It's all like these are other parallel universes within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. These are other dimensions.
But what is freshman year besides another multiverse, right? Like, is it technically every movie?
Freshman year, because freshman year, I'm sure that people might just say, "Oh, it's just another multiverse." But if freshman year makes no reference at all to the rest of the MCU, that will be a good thing. The What If still is. The very idea of What If is, hey, what if we took a lot of MCU stuff and we tweaked it a little bit?
Yeah.
What If's version of Captain Carter is from the MCU's version of Captain America. What If's version of Doctor Strange is from the MCU's version of Doctor Strange. It is still very much playing in the sandbox that the MCU set up. I think you need to go further out and you need to be more different.
That's fair, actually. I think you could see that with some of these things. Like if you do start taking, like, for example, the Mandarin versus Odin, if you make the Mandarin more kind of comic based in his powers, that might be something where it's like, hey, I can see this because you're not using the same character again, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, but no, like honestly, I don't even think that's a thing that they need to change What If to do. I just think they need to make more different shows that aren't What If. I'm not super interested in What If.
That's fair.
But all right, we have a lot of stuff to talk
let's
about.
Move on now.
Keep it moving.
So,
Stick and move.
Let's just quickly sidebar Marvel Zombies. 2024 release date, and it's going to be rated R or TVMA.
2024 release. Oh, you want to jump to Marvel Zombies because of the What If connection? All right. Give me that again. 2024 release date.
It'll be rated R, and it will include zombie versions of Ghost, Abomination, Captain Marvel, Scarlet Witch, Hawkeye, Okoye, Captain America, Jimmy Woo, Kate Bishop, Yelena, Shang-Chi, and Miss Marvel.
Is that animated or live
Animated.
action? Yeah, I'm not interested.
But it's rated R, so, that's different.
Great. Was it Multiverse of Madness? What was the rating on Multiverse of Madness?
It's 14, PG-14. They've never had
It was 14. Okay, so maybe they'll get to go further than that. But no, to me, when someone says this thing's rated R, it's gonna be darker, grittier. I'm like, I don't.
Well, zombies, so I feel like you have to kind of go.
The only good superhero movie that's rated R I've seen was Deadpool. So.
Logan, hello.
Say that again.
Logan?
Okay, no, you know what? Logan was good. I take that back. You're right. I didn't realize that was rated R, but yeah, now that I think about it, of course it is. But yeah, you're right. Logan was a good film.
That's probably it.
Logan doesn't really stick in my head a lot. It's not like a super memorable flick for me. It was good, but
it doesn't feel like a superhero movie too. It kind of feels like it's separate.
It's doing its own thing. Yeah.
Okay, now next thing in the timeline because.
Black Panther 2. You keep dodging me on this. Let's talk Black Panther 2.
I know I'm trying to dodge it. Okay, I want your opinion first.
Well, my opinion first. Okay. One, I'm glad they did not recast the character of T'Challa. I'm glad they sort of poured one out for Chadwick Boseman and said this is his role. We're gonna do other stuff. I think that was the correct choice. And then at
least immediately.
Pardon?
At least immediately. Maybe down the line.
Maybe if you want to talk 20 years or something, they're doing something. Yeah. Like you let that one rest. Yeah. So long as the current iteration of the MCU exists and we don't get a reboot or anything, I don't think they should touch that role. If they, because people are talking about with Secret Wars that they might reboot it. If they reboot it in Secret Wars, maybe you could do something. Like if you're not recasting Tony Stark, you shouldn't recast T'Challa. Like my point is that as far as we're concerned, that character in the MCU has passed away the same way that Chadwick Boseman has passed away.
Okay, I'll propose something after.
You're gonna propose something after.
Continue.
Okay, and then but the rest of the trailer, I have no idea what's going on. They have Namor, which is I'm not a water fan. I'm not a fan. I'm not an Aquaman fan. I'm not a Namor fan. But here's the thing, I trust in Ryan Coogler's ability to make a good film. So if Ryan Coogler said, you know what, we need Namor for this one, I trust him. It'll be a good movie. But I have no idea where they're going with that. Other noticeable bits from the trailer are, I think Ironheart crops up. People have said that. Riri Williams,
she's in the show.
In the movie, yeah. Ironheart crops up, which I'm looking forward to. From the second I think that they phased out Tony Stark and they killed off his character, I was immediately going, oh, we're gonna get Ironheart. And
we're getting Ironheart's show in 20.
Right, yeah, that's connected. Yeah,
so.
But the second they phased out Tony Stark, I was like, okay, we're gonna get Ironheart because it does two things. Number one, it lets them fulfill that trope of flying really cool armored suits, which the MCU loves, I love, the fans love. It just makes sense to do. Two,
War Machine's not good enough for you?
Has War Machine showed up since Endgame?
Yeah, in Falcon, he showed up for 5 minutes.
Yeah, great. He showed up for 5 minutes. But no, War Machine. Okay, let's be clear. The character of Rhodey in War Machine is good. He's not the one who makes the suits. They want that inventor type who can make and do weird things. The closest we've gotten to that is Peter.
Spider-Man.
It's Peter in Far From Home. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I would love to see some more. I would love to see that archetype again. And then I think the reason they're also happy to do it as Ironheart is because it lets them tell this, something they're doing with Miss Marvel lets them tell more diverse stories. Because I haven't read the comics, but as I understand, Ironheart is sort of this young black woman from, I don't know what city she's from actually. She's American.
I don't know, but she's at MIT.
She's at MIT, so yeah, she's going to MIT. Heck, if she's going to MIT and that's how they keep that, we might see what's his face from. It's not Bruno. We might see Bruno from Miss Marvel.
Oh, I just made that connection. Character. You're right.
I just made that connection. That's a long shot because MIT's a big place, but that'd be fun. I think that's cool.
In her show, I would almost actually pencil that in now. How we could even see a Miss Marvel crossover.
We could. That's a stretch because there's no reason. I guess if Kamala's visiting at MIT, but like also she's like if you what spoilers for Miss Marvel in the end credits scene, she's in space now, right?
Well, we don't
So
know
she
the
swaps.
timeline of when the Marvels takes place compared to
We,
Ironheart.
we obviously don't. Yeah, but I would okay. Also, Ironheart does happen after, and generally the MCU sticks to a chronological timeline.
So it'll be all I'm saying is because you think about it, if you do want to build toward a Young Avengers story eventually, that connection,
right?
You do want to make that connection.
Miss Marvel. Yeah, Miss Marvel and Ironheart would definitely you'd want them involved. Yeah, I agree with you. And then the last notable thing from the trailer, to me at least, is at the very end you have a new Black Panther show up behind in silhouette. Someone wearing the suit. You're right. But to me, what I think is likely to be a new Black Panther, they are very much playing up the T'Challa is dead thing. So to me, it's a new Black Panther. What was your thing you wanted to hit me with?
Okay, so this is the thing. Now, what if they did this? What if they had, what if they did some stuff with the multiverse and they brought in a version of Killmonger from another universe?
Yes, that is exactly what I think they're going to do.
Who is a more vigilante style Black Panther, because you have to still stick with the kind of the ethos of the Killmonger character. Right. And so he's going to be a more vigilante style Black Panther, but you get to keep the character of Black Panther, but at the same time, you still get a Killmonger without making the Killmonger who had that kind of I think in a way the most perfect ending for a character in the MCU.
Yes, that is you and me are exactly on the same wavelength here. Because
good.
the one thing I noticed right off the bat is that this new Black Panther we see, their suit is gold, and Killmonger in the original had a gold suit. So right away I'm going, okay, this is sort of what is the term for it? I guess foreshadowing Killmonger, but
teasing Killmonger, yeah.
But the issue with Killmonger is in the original, he had this very perfect ending where it almost feels like they're in the writer's room. They were having this conversation where they said, hey, can we keep this character around like in a Loki style sense? He's a very fun character. And someone on the other end of the table went, no, we're going to kill him. And then you have that in-universe conversation where T'Challa says, hey, we can save you. We have this medical technology. And he goes, no. There's this very poignant line, which is bury me with my ancestors who jumped from ships to die rather than live in bondage. And so you have that, and he just goes out watching the sunset or sunset. Yeah, very very poignant ending for this character. So if and it's Ryan Coogler who's doing this film, so he's not. Sometimes you might have different creatives who are overriding each other's choices. Star Wars is a very classic example with Rise of Skywalker and
everything else.
What's the middle one?
Last
what was
Jedi.
the middle one? Last Jedi. Yeah, those two contradict each other a lot. But in this case, because it's the same creative lead, I think that he would much rather pull over a parallel version of Killmonger.
Well, also got Kevin Feige over all of it, so you still don't get that, right? Because a lot of the creative vision the general story vision comes from Kevin Feige, so you don't have someone just trying to basically do their own
right.
thing.
It really would depend. I think Kevin Feige in some cases would allow something to be overridden,
but only if it works.
You're right.
He wouldn't
only if it works. Yeah. Mind you, he can make mistakes. I don't think anyone's infallible.
No, but I just think when you have that kind of overall vision, and then it's a lot easier to kind of you can have someone go from Joss Whedon to the Russo brothers for an Avengers movie, and there to be no real change, or you can have different directors for basically for the Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3, right? So.
Right, yeah, you had on the original Iron Man, I think it was Jon Favreau, and then you had 3 it was Shane Black. I don't know who did Iron Man 2. Was it still Jon Favreau?
Favreau did both first two.
Okay. Yeah. No, what was I saying? But no, I'm looking forward to Black Panther 2. I think the obvious choice is Killmonger but they could do something different. If we're gonna go through, I think if they're gonna do something different, it'll be someone we maybe haven't seen before, because I can't think of any existing candidates who. I don't think so Winston Duke is that's the actor, right?
Yeah, M'Baku.
Yeah, I don't think M'Baku has the stage presence, and I don't think Letitia Wright, who plays Shuri, has the stage presence.
But she might have the stage presence, but after all this stuff that went down,
because she's heinous political views, you mean?
With all the vaccine stuff and the delaying the movie, because I don't think there's any. If there was I think there was a plan at one point for her to be it. I think that has changed just because of the behind the scenes stuff.
I wouldn't go that far. I would say that even then, I don't think Shuri has the stage presence for it. And I don't think M'Baku has the stage presence. I think both of those characters, there's no way trying to put shade on the actors. I believe I have full confidence in both of those actors to carry that role. I don't think those characters, as they've been written, have that narrative weight.
Well, I think
And
the other thing is,
maybe a bulk of this film could be devoted to giving them that narrative weight, but as they are, I don't see it.
well, I look at it more like this: if you want this person to be the next Black Panther, there has to be there's one criteria. They have to be able to carry this movie, right? They have to be good enough to be the main like the star of the movie, right? They're the star.
Yeah.
And so I think Winston Duke, I do think he can be that. I think he has been that. I also think that I don't think it's a coincidence they gave him a pay raise after they did the rewrites. I think there's something there if his role is going to be extended in some way.
I can see his role being extended, but if he shows up as Black Panther proper, I will be very surprised, because to me that is like if Iron Man, if after Tony's death they had Rhodey become Iron Man, I'd be like, that's like fine, but it doesn't feel right to me. Like, take Sam becoming Captain America. They did it, but they gave him a whole show to sort of like step into that role before making him Captain America.
And I do think the other person we have to kind of give at least a little bit of mention to is Lupita Nyong'o, who has proven she can be the star of a movie. And
Lupita Nyong'o, who's she playing again? Sorry,
Nakia.
correct me, I'm not a great actor. Yes, I agree with you. I think she could do it.
Because I do think she also
fits
fits the same criteria Killmonger fits. You have a star who can be the kind of main character of a movie and can do that and be effective in that. But you also have someone whose characters be built up with some level of care from the audience. So I do think we have to give her a little bit, even though my personal opinion is I think Michael B. Jordan being the star of that movie and being Black Panther is the perfect way to do it. I think we have to mention her.
Yeah. I think Michael B. Jordan is the most obvious fit and the most ideal fit. They have room to maneuver.
Yeah.
It's not like they're locked into doing that.
And you can even do a
and then
case
so
where,
what?
Yeah, sorry.
What I was gonna say, what's next up in our timeline?
Next up we have Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
I have no idea what to think for this one. I don't know what they're doing.
Okay.
You tell me about this one, because I have no idea what's going on.
So, we know the first thing we know is we know MODOK's in it.
We know MODOK's in it. What? That's an interesting choice.
Is it though? I mean, MODOK.
We also know Kang the Conqueror's there, but not the same Kang as was in Loki.
Which makes sense because Kang is like
there's multiple versions of Kang they've already established.
Yeah, and so
yeah. No, and we also know that Kang is going to be a big deal later down the line at the end of Phase 5 with. A small thing we didn't mention earlier is that they've confirmed that I think Black Panther will be the last film in Phase 4. Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting, but also makes sense. That was the most shocking news that came out. Actually, no, the second most shocking news that came out of this.
No, yeah. So to me, them saying that really like seals down to me how low key Stage 4 has been.
Well, it's a setup phase. I've always been preaching this. It's a setup phase.
But phase, okay, if you compare it to Phase 1, Phase 1 was a setup phase, but Phase 1 ended with this big high note that was the Avengers, and we haven't gotten that for Stage 4. Phase 4 has been very low key. There's been we don't get a big team up film at the end, and we are going to get that for Phase 5 and 6.
Well,
no, we're not for 5.
We're getting it for 5. Yeah, we are. We're getting a team up film.
Is there an Avengers film for 5?
We're getting Thunderbolts.
What's our? Okay,
it's a team
cool.
Up film.
Yeah,
it is a team up film. That's the marquee film of that.
It is a team up film, but I wouldn't call it's not an Avengers like. Anyways, but yeah. All right, you know what? We're skipping ahead right now. Quantumania. We have
live action MODOK's gonna rule.
We have
That's all I know. But
live action MODOK is either going to look great or terrible.
I'm gonna go with great for now until I see otherwise.
We're gonna go with great for now. I'm happy to see Paul Reed again. I'm happy to see Evangeline Lilly. I'm happy to see Michael Douglas.
Canadian
all
legend
of those
Evangeline
are great
Lilly, but yes.
Pardon?
Canadian legend Evangeline Lilly, but yes.
Canadian legend Evangeline Lilly. And we get the something once again. Shout out to Polygon. I'm looking at some notes here. One, we get a new version of Cassie Lang because of the snap. Mm-hmm. Normally, what they've been doing with the snap is having characters like come over from individual movies, either having jumped or not jumped. In this case, we actually get the interesting thing of these characters snapped, but this character did not.
So it'll be interesting, definitely, to see to see Cassie Lang come back and
Especially because she's another Young Avengers candidate.
yes, and there's
And
a place
then
for her to show
also,
up down the
as-
line. So
Also, I'm not sure if this is correct here, but as I'm looking at Polygons reporting, Bill Murray is going
yes,
to be
he
in
is
the
in the
movie.
movie.
One of my all-time favorite actors. So, what do we know what role he's playing?
Unfortunately, from what I've heard, it's not Luke. It's not MODOK. So that kind of.
I don't think Bill Murray's the actor you want to cast for MODOK, but I'm looking forward to that film. Then I'm a big Bill Murray fan. Groundhog Day is my all-time favorite film, so I'm looking forward to that.
I have a hunch he's gonna be somehow connected, or be like you know. Oh, you know what'd be interesting? What if he was an alternate version of Hank Pym?
Alternate version of Hank Pym could work. It could be another different Kang if we're just doing a lot of Kangs.
Yeah, I like this idea of alternate Hank Pym though, because I feel like if you think about him and Michael Douglas and you kind of look at them, like they're very different, but they're also very similar, like in a lot of ways.
I can see that, although I don't want to take away from Michael Douglas's portrayal, but I think he does a very good job.
Like, or you do some like evil version of Ant-Man type thing, like a dark Ant-Man.
Okay, if once again, Dark Ant-Man, you're not casting Bill Murray. Bill Murray is great. He's also a very old man. Like, you're bringing in Bill Murray so he can sort of lean on his massive acting talent. You're not putting him for stunts.
Yeah, well,
Maybe MODOK. Maybe once again MODOK. MODOK doesn't do a lot of stunts. He's
no,
pretty
he's not
patient.
MODOK. So
Apparently he's not MODOK.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see what Bill Murray is doing then, and then after that, we're hopping over to the TV side. In spring 2023, spring of next year, we have Secret Invasion.
yes, Secret Invasion would be the next one.
Which I am excited for. We finally get Nick Fury back after that tease at the end of Far From Home.
Yes,
We finally get to see him again. It's been that movie came out in 2019, so it'll have been 4 years since we've seen Nick Fury.
was he not in? Was he not in Black Widow?
I don't think so. Was he?
No, I don't think he was. Wow,
He wasn't.
like the fact that we had a Black Widow movie and a Hawkeye show, and Nick Fury didn't show up in either of those is kind of crazy to me.
No, that's what I'm saying. We've been missing Nick Fury, so I'm gonna be happy to see him again.
And I love the idea that they're doing this as a show. I don't know. Did you watch Earth's Mightiest Heroes?
No. What is that?
It's the animated Avengers show. It's one of the better ones.
No, I've never watched any of the original old anime shows. The closest I get was I watched a very old. When I was younger, I watched a very old animated film based off the Ultimates. I can't even recall the name of it.
I think it was called The Ultimates.
I think it was called The Ultimates. Yeah, it was a great film. But yeah, that's the closest I got.
So it's interesting because they did this. They did. I think that's the best so far animated depiction. I guess closest thing to a live action depiction of the Secret Invasion storyline. Because unlike DC, Marvel doesn't do a lot of animation like that outside of what they're doing now. But I think it'd be interesting to kind of see because they did say it's going to kind of be that body who's the Skrull, who isn't a Skrull.
Yeah, sort of an Among Us situation.
Exactly.
Sort of a very high-minded, like political, cloak and dagger thing, especially because they have Emilia Clarke, who I'm excited to see. I think she's a very talented actress.
They have Ben Mendelsohn probably. I think he's confirmed to come back.
Ben Mendelsohn as Talos. Yeah.
Yep. And then you have Maria Hill coming back. There have been some very heavy rumors that Daisy Johnson from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. will be making a return.
I've been hearing about that for weeks, and I'll believe it when I see it.
I've not heard anything of no validity to any of this, but
I've heard nothing substantive. Yes, I've just been hearing about that for weeks, and I'll believe it. How about this? I wouldn't be surprised, but at the same time, to me, until it happens, it was the same thing with Daredevil. Until Charlie Cox showed up in No Way Home, to me, it was all up in the air.
Yeah. I agree with that. I think.
Well, I guess if you want to go further back, until Vincent D'Onofrio showed up in Hawkeye, that was the first hint we got that they were bringing back in the Defenders canon.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the idea that I think the idea of her coming back makes sense in this story.
Yeah.
Like if there's any show that makes sense or any movie that makes sense for her to come back, it's this one.
This is the most S.H.I.E.L.D. based thing we've gotten in a while. Even if S.H.I.E.L.D. as an organized view is kind of dead.
Yeah, and You also have Don Cheadle coming back as Rhodey.
Cool. I don't know why specifically it's here, but I'm happy to see him.
I think again it's kind of that kind of you get that those kind of grounded characters with air quotes.
Yeah, you don't want people with big flashy superpowers. That makes sense.
And I think he's kind of a grounded character you haven't seen in a while, and it's like, why not?
Also, apparently they have one of the writers from Mr. Robot
Yes.
On this, which I think is cool. Kyle Bradstreet. I think that's a good gravitas to give your low to the ground show.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be an interesting one. I still don't know what to expect from it because Secret Invasion is a big time comic storyline. They're making a small time
I'm really
show.
hoping they give it more than 6 episodes because so far they've really been, I think with the which I think there's like WandaVision got more than 6 episodes, and I want to say maybe Falcon and the Winter Soldier got more than 6 episodes. Besides from that, they're really limiting these TV shows by keeping
They've
them
been keeping them 6 to 8. I think all of them have been between 6 to 8.
No, I agree. All of them are 6 to 8, but most are 6.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm just saying, like, even I think WandaVision and Falcon were 8, not even more than that.
I think Hawkeye worked at 6. I think Moon Knight worked of being 6 episodes. I think Moon Knight could have even had more and done more with it.
I think you're giving room for Moon Knight season 2, which is nice because I don't think you should go through. Like, I think you do want to. They also want to make sure they space things out. I think they've been cognizant of that.
That's fine, but just to me, like Miss Marvel was a very claustrophobic.
Miss Marvel was so rushed.
Yeah, and I'm for something like this where it's this tense political thriller. I don't want them to rush it.
And also, it's interesting because is this something where they're going to start setting this up for post Phase 6? Because you think about it, if you really want to do a Skrull invasion, I don't think you can effectively do that in a 6-episode show with no big heroes. So what you have to do is you have to set it up for something either during or post Phase 6, and we'll talk a little bit about Phase 6 when we know.
I don't think that. Here's the thing. I don't think we're gonna get a big Skrull invasion. I don't think that's what they're setting. I think they're doing this. The reason they're doing Secret Wars is because it lets them do all of that without having to worry about it.
But Secret Wars isn't the same. Secret Wars is a different, like...
Sorry, Secret Wars is... Okay, it might have been Secret Invasion and Secret Wars are very similar names.
Secret Wars is like multiversal stuff. Secret Invasion is a lot more of a spy
Sorry, let's look here. The reason they're doing Secret Invasion and it being a secret invasion is emphasis on the secret, not so much on the invasion. I don't think we're going to see, like, Skrull tanks rolling down Washington.
But
I think we're just going to see that Skrulls impersonating people, and then like Nick Fury will get them to back off or something via some sort of like clever means. I don't think we're going to see big fight scenes.
But now, do you think there's a possibility at the end of the show they leave some seeds of a possibility of, you know, a little bit later down the line you can make this the next kind of thing that they do?
It's possible, but I think we'll have to wait and see. I'm nowhere near confident that is what they're doing.
Because that's what I have the feeling that they're going to leave. They'll have it as a show with the story ending, but leave some areas where they can say, hey, let's just kind of, you know, do a little bit more. Thank you for watching part 1. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share your thoughts in the comment section. Follow us on social media at comicboys_. And, of course, turn on the notification bell so you know when part 2 comes out next week. And check out our interviews. Bye.